Hello, one-alls! Review the Time Reincarnated Slime, Season 2, Part 2, Episode 1. Wow, that's a mouthful. That is a real mouthful. Though I am just thankful the series is back. Though we have had something fill the void the last few months, Slime Diaries. And seriously, if you've not yet watched Slime Diaries, go freaking watch it. It is so worth it, and has no right to be as good as it is. I mean, yes, it is a comedy slice of life spin-off, and most of what happens in it can't really be considered all that canon. I mean, I'm fairly certain Rimuru never fought King Gazelle in a bunny outfit. He might have, but I'm pretty sure that didn't actually happen. Still though, it's just so absolutely amazing to see, all the members of the cast actually get a chance to shine, get a chance to really show who they are deep down, what kind of monsters they are, especially Geld. Oh my freaking god, I love Geld. He's just so absolutely amazing with kids. It's so freaking adorable and wholesome, and I love it. It really is a spin-off that makes the main series all that much better. But speaking of the main series, let's talk about this episode, because the big thing is Veldora's back! Yay! And he is a bit of a liar. Admittedly, he lied much more in light novel here, but he's still fibbing just a little bit to Rimuru. Basically, he's been watching everything Rimuru's done over the last year or two from inside his stomach while reading manga and playing shogi, and not really all that focused on undoing the unlimited imprisonments. Thankfully though, Great Sage was there to keep him in line. And by keep him in line, I mean basically torture him and Ifrit. Seriously, Veldora didn't unlock the ultimate skill Faust because of Rimuru's evolution, but because Raphael ordered him to. Let me put this into context for a second. Raphael, a skill who is technically not even alive, went to Veldora, the freaking storm dragon, one of the strongest beings in all of existence, and ordered him to unlock an ultimate skill, something he hadn't been able to do after millennia of just death and destruction. But he did it because he was just that overwhelmingly afraid of her. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. And even now, Veldora isn't actually free of Raphael because, as it turns out, the soul corridor that connects him to Rimuru also means that Raphael and Ifrit are free to talk to him whenever they want. So, yeah, Veldora should be afraid. He should be very afraid. But it also does come in handy. It turns out Veldora wasn't actually able to figure out how to suppress his power by himself, but rather Raphael had to explain it to him. And unless I read that part of the manga incorrectly, she explained it to him in the form of a manga. Okay, that was interesting. Though this does bring up my next point, Veldora actually learning to suppress his powers wasn't something he just was able to do automatically after a few minutes of trial and error. No, this took him 3 freaking straight days in the light novel. A very long time, and by the time they actually, left the cave, there was a lot of people there basically going to war with one another, because 2 factions had set up. Both of them were aware that Veldora had been summoned, Veldora had awakened, and one faction wanted to run into the cave and go rescue Rimuru from Veldora, and the other faction was like, Rimuru told us to wait out here, so we should just wait out here, and when he's done, he'll come out and he'll tell us what's going on. Oh, I love their loyalty to him. I absolutely freaking love their loyalty to him. But this does create a bit of an issue with the timeline, because after this, Rimuru has the big party, and then the meeting. Whereas in the light novel, he has the big party, and the meeting, and then he spends 3 days in the cave teaching Veldora how to control his powers, while also going through all his skills and trying to figure out exactly what it is he can do now. And that is a somewhat positive difference, because it means that Veldora is there for the big party, big celebration, and everyone, gets to meet him, get to know him, realize, hey, you know what? Yes, he is a walking natural disaster, but this Veldora, he's a fun guy, we should become friends with him, I like that. But the problem is, Rimuru gave a lot of assignments during that meeting after the party. He said basically, hey Shion, you go interrogate the prisoners, Benimaru, you go figure out exactly what's going on in town, Zoe, you go figure out what's going on with Clayman. And then they actually had 3 days to get that done while Rimuru was in the cave. But now, they haven't actually had a chance to do those assignments, and they're moving right into the next meeting with King Gazelle and the Archduke. So they haven't actually gotten any results yet, and I'm wondering exactly how they're going to word that, because that could definitely be an issue plot-wise. Very curious about that. But anyway, back in the cave, Rimuru figures out that he now has 4 ultimate skills. Oh, I love it. He has 4 ultimate skills. Most Demon Lords don't even have 1. Veldora the freaking Storm Dragon only has 1, and Rimuru now has 4. So yeah, Rimuru is just a little bit broken, a whole lot of bit broken, and stupidly OP. But let's actually take a look at his ultimate skills. First off, we have Raphael's ultimate skill, as she basically made the other 3, and she has the abilities Mind Acceleration, Analyze and Assess, Parallel Computation, Cast Cancel, All of Creation, Assemble/Disassemble, and Ability Adjust. Next up, there's Beelzebub, which is formed from his gluttony skill, and this has the powers Stomach, Mimicry, Isolate, Rot, Soul Consume, which, oh my freaking god, that's a terrifying name. That's a truly, truly terrifying name. I think that's an extension of the skill Merciless he unlocked when he was, murdering 20,000 people. Basically lets him eat the souls of anyone who surrenders to him. Oh, Rimuru is truly, truly a demon lord. And finally, my favorite part of all this, Food Chain, which basically gives Rimuru access to all the skills of everyone in Tempest. Yeah, so he can basically do everything anyone under him can do. In fact, he unlocks so many skills from this, he can't actually keep track of all of them, so he asks Raphael to sort them, and she does! Sorting them into Uriel, Lord of Vows. She creates a new ultimate skill just from all the skills Rimuru has, floating around. And I really love how it's described in the light novel. Collected prayers of those who had vowed fealty to him. Or in other words, it's the power of friendship. Uriel, Lord of Vows, is basically the power of friendship. The power of all the friends that Rimuru's made along his journey. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. It's also probably worth noting here is the reason Rimuru was able to make so many friends, the reason why Rimuru was able to name so many people was because of Veldora. Because every time Rimuru started, running low on magicals and he was naming people, Great Sage just grab a few from Veldora, basically stealing from his very soul to allow Rimuru to keep naming people. Oh, I freaking loved it. But anyway, Uriel has the following abilities. Unlimited Imprisonment, Universal Barrier, Control Laws, which is basically the ability to use any magic he already knows, or the magic anyone in his, genealogy knows. And finally, Dominate Space, which is basically just, teleport. He can teleport any place within his range of magic sense, or any place he's been to in the past, so that takes a little bit longer. And finally, his final ultimate skill, Veldora the freaking Storm Dragon, which, seriously, all the other ultimate skills are named after, angels or demons, Raphael, Beelzebub, Uriel, but this last one is just named after Veldora. He's on the same level as a great angel or demon. And that's not far off. He is, as I said, one of the ultimate beings in all of existence. And this was created by Raphael analyzing the remnants of Veldora they left behind inside of Rimuru when he moved on to the new body. And this is the power Summon Storm Dragon, which is exactly what it sounds like. Wherever Rimuru is in the world, he can summon Veldora to his side, which, might sound like it's a stupidly broken OP skill, and it is. But let's not forget the fact that Veldora, he is very, very terrifyingly powerful, and he kind of lacks on the control, a lot of bit. So if he actually summons Veldora to a fight, Veldora will destroy basically everything within several miles of him. So yeah, that's not really a useful option most of the time. Restore Storm Dragon basically lets him bring Veldora back from the dead, which, neat. And finally, Storm-type magic, which is kind of like poison magic. Basically, if he's able to put a single cut in a person's body with storm magic, the wound will spread and increase until it basically kills that person. So yeah, that's powerful. Incredibly, incredibly broken and powerful. And that's just who Rimuru is right now. Oh, and finally, let's take a look at Veldora's ultimate skill, Faust. This comes with Mind Accelerate, Analyze and Assess, All of Creation, Control Probability, and Investigate Truth. So kind of similar to Raphael, but also with its own abilities and not as useful. But anyway, then Rimuru has to introduce Veldora to everyone in town, and I just absolutely love the stunned silence here, as everyone's just trying to process what Rimuru just said. It's almost like they're trying to figure out, okay, clearly this can't be Veldora. Clearly that's not possible that Veldora the freaking Storm Dragon is standing there in human form. But Rimuru is telling us this, and Rimuru is never wrong. Rimuru is basically our god, so it must be Veldora, but it can't be Veldora, and their minds are basically just breaking as they're trying to comprehend exactly what they're seeing. Only Diablo is watching us and saying, yeah, that makes sense. It would make perfect sense that Master be able to tame the freaking Storm Dragon and make him his friend. Thankfully, though, the Dryads show up and they're able to recognize Veldora, even his new form. And this is enough to convince them, oh my god, that actually is Veldora! And they all just collectively lose their freaking minds, because, yes, obviously they should. Veldora is as close to a god as you can really come to in this world. I mean, he could literally turn this entire town to rubble by sneezing. That's how overwhelmingly broken he is. And then he declares to the whole world to hear that he and Rimuru are besties for resties. Which, of course, why not? Rimuru managed to tame Malim, so why can't he tame the freaking Storm Dragon as well? That makes some sense. I mean, it doesn't. It completely breaks all sense of reality and all their understandings of how this world works, but hey, you know what? It's Rimuru, and he can do it if he wants to. He can defy the very concept of reality. But anyway, then they decide to party. Woo woo! And somebody apparently throws a baby in the air, which seems like really bad parenting, but I wouldn't know. I'm not a parent as far as I know. But anyway, they're all having a great time. Muran apparently drank Yoma under the table. Gopta's doing some belly dancing. Veldora's showing off his powers and making all the kids smile and laugh. So he's very welcomed as a member of Tempest. Huzzah! And then we get to see Shion's cooking, and we get to learn a little bit more about why it looks so absolutely overwhelmingly disgusting and awful. As it turns out, she's attempting to cook with her giant freaking sword, which, yeah, that's a problem. That's a really, really big problem. I mean, it's probably not her only problem, but certainly one of them. But as it turns out, Shion's ultimate wish, her ultimate desire, when she was revived, was to be able to cook for Rimuru. So the world heard that, and the gift it gave her was Master Chef, which basically allows her to make any food taste exactly how she wants it, no matter how she actually goes about cooking it, which might seem like a really, really stupid wish to make, a really stupid skill for, a warrior to ask for, and it is. It absolutely is. But believe me when I say Master Chef is probably one of the most broken, unique skills in this entire series. I won't go into the details right now, but just look forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Though it's also a really, really stupid skill because even though it makes the food taste really good, it still looks absolutely disgusting and the texture is just all wrong, so it's not really edible at all. For example, at one point down the road, she makes Rimuru a cake, but the cake is gray and has the consistency of very thick jello. So yeah, just imagine chewing into jello and tasting cake. It's honestly disgusting. It is overwhelmingly disgusting, and it's just barely even edible. So yeah, she still needs a lot of work to do to actually make her food, good, but this is a good first step. Plus, Rimuru promised to get her a set of kitchen knives so she can actually, cut the ingredients well. So yeah, like I said, some good steps right there, some good steps for her. And then the next day, we have the official meeting at Tempest, and the first thing on the agenda is Gabiru, who was officially appointed to a leadership role, which, just good for him. Let's not forget who Gabiru was when the series first started. He attempted to overthrow the Goblin Village and repeatedly insulted Rimuru before leading his men into an obvious ambush and trap that got a lot of them killed. But, from that, he managed to become humble. He managed to realize the error of his ways and came to Tempest begging for an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to try out what he could do. And they gave it to him. Seriously, this isn't a leadership role. They aren't appointing him to, a leader of the army or military, something like that. He is leader of development, leader of research in Tempest. He is a scientist now, which... oh my freaking god, that's insane. I mean, he was the biggest idiot in the world when he first appeared, but Rimuru saw his talent, saw his potential as a researcher, as a scientist, and was able to give him a chance to grow, a chance to learn, and he flourished. That's what the power of Tempest truly is. The power of this nation is the power to give everyone a chance to learn, to grow, to find out what they're really good at, and put them to work. I love it. I freaking love it. And then next on the menu is Rimuru announcing he's going to declare himself an official demon lord. Not just having become one, but declare to the entire world that he is truly a demon lord, which... that's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure the world's going to have some very, very mixed reactions to finding out that Slime just named himself, one of 10 great demon lords. Or I guess 11. Well, I mean 10. He has declared he's going to go kill Clayman. So once he kills Clayman, he'll take his spot and there'll be 10 great demon lords again. Huzzah! And to prepare for this war against Clayman, he gives everyone their roles. Benimaru was in charge of figuring out exactly what's happened to everyone in town, how they've evolved and changed thanks to the gifts they were given and what they're capable of doing now. Shion is in charge of torturing the king, the bishop, and Raisin, which... that's gonna be terrifying. That's gonna be so terrifying. Oh god. Thankfully, Rimuru realizes, okay, she might actually kill them if I don't send someone to keep an eye on her. So he also sends Yom and Murin to, make sure she doesn't accidentally kill them or purposely kill them. And then just as the meeting is finishing up, Fuse runs in to declare he's come to help Rimuru fight in the war against Falmus, which... oh my god, I love it. I freaking love it. I mean, I was a little irked about how they rearranged events, but it was just so worth it for this moment, because he saw everyone passed out drunk in the streets from the big party, and thought they were the dead, thought those were everyone that Falmus had killed when they attacked. And I really just have to give a round of applause to Fuse. I mean, he rushed here as fast as he could, bring some of the best knights he had with him to come help Rimuru, to come help this nation of monsters fight against one of the strongest nations in the world. And this is partly because of the pact between the two nations, between Tempest and Blumend, which basically says, oh, if either of us are in trouble, the other will come help. Though that was really more of a way to trick Rimuru into promising to help defend them if the Eastern nation ever attacked. Rimuru didn't really expect to get anything out of that part of the agreement, so he didn't really think about it too much. But Fuse and Blumend, they adhered to that agreement. They came rushing as soon as they realized Rimuru was in trouble, and they were fully prepared to fight against the strongest nation in the world because of that pact, because of their friendship with Tempest. And then, oh god, I actually feel bad for Rimuru here, as he has to explain to Fuse, yeah, the war is kind of over. I kind of murdered their entire army of 20,000 people. And then Fuse has to, look around, to confirm. He looks at everyone like, yeah, he did it. He actually did it. And then he just deflates. He literally deflates because, he was fully hyped to get here. He ran in here as fast as he could. He was fully prepared to actually die in this war. In fact, he gave up his post as master of the guild to the second in command because he didn't actually think he'd come back alive. He really didn't think Rimuru had any chance of winning this war, or at least he didn't think Rimuru could do it without some major casualties, and he was prepared for that. He was prepared to freaking die for the sake of Blumend's friendship with this nation of monsters. He's a good guy. He is a really good guy, and so is the King of Blumend. He's a good person. He's a good person deep down. And I just love that Yoma has to come over and give him a pat in the back and say, you know what, you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. Rimuru does this kind of crazy stuff all the time. Hey, did you hear I'm going to be the next King of Falmouth? Oh, God. Poor Fuse. But before Fuse can really, comprehend everything that's been going on, Rimuru has to go deal with his next visitors, King Gazelle, who is well aware of the fact that Rimuru has become a demon lord because Vester told him. Not because Vester's a spy necessarily, though Vester is kind of technically a spy. More so because Rimuru asked Vester to call up Gazelle and say, hey, listen, I've got some prisoners of war. What exactly do I do with them? And the answer is basically, I don't know, because at no point in the entire history of this world has there been a king who was stupid enough to let himself get caught by an enemy nation. It has literally never happened until this point, and so no one really knows exactly what Rimuru should do with the king. I mean, Vester theorizes that, the people have probably lost a lot of faith in the king since he led all of his soldiers into an ambush, got them all killed, and was then captured alive. So, yeah, he's probably not going to be king for all that much longer if you send him back. But Gazelle is pretty chill about the fact that Rimuru, declared himself a demon lord because he knows in his heart of hearts Rimuru is a good person deep down. He would never do something truly awful and evil. And, wars happen. Killing 20,000 people doesn't usually happen, but it happens if there's good reason for it. He is much calmer than the Archduke of Thalion, who then shows up and attempts to murder Rimuru with an explosion magic, which I have a lot to say about this, but seriously, can we just take a minute to appreciate this explosion magic? This was never going to be launched. It was never going to be used. It was basically more or less a bluff, and yet they still went through the effort of animating it and making it look so freaking amazing. Seriously, I really want to see the spell used. I really want to see what would have happened if we actually unleashed it. Thankfully, though, his daughter shows up and smacks him over the head. Yeah, as it turns out, Ellen is the daughter of the Archduke, so she is quite literally an elven princess, which, just feels so utterly appropriate in a fantasy series like this. And, so it turns out the Archduke was a little bit afraid because he thought his daughter had been seduced by a demon lord. Which, kind of true. I mean, I don't think there's any real romantic feelings between Ellen and Rimuru, but she has been charmed by him. She is aware of just how wonderful a person he is, and she's willing to do anything to help him and support him because, she really does like him as a person. Though as she said back in part 1, there's probably going to be some trouble because she explained to him the method for how to become a demon lord, and then he went out and murdered 20,000 people. That's not a good look for the nation of Thalion, so her father's probably here to deal with the whole, fallout of all this happening, and trying to find the best way to make sure that Thalion doesn't look too bad and his daughter doesn't get any severe punishment. And that's really the end of the episode. It was a fun first episode. They packed a lot in. Like I said, they definitely rearranged some events, and I'm curious to see how that goes next episode. I mean, next episode's called, Humans and Monsters Meeting? That's a pretty weird name, and right now it's called the Monster and Man Summit, which sounds so much cooler, so much better. I feel like that's just a bad translation right there, but the important thing is it's a very, very big meeting. Rimuru, King Gazelle, the Archduke of Thalion, the Guildmaster of Blumend, and, Veldora. Yeah, no one's actually seen Veldora yet. Fuse hasn't seen Veldora yet, Gazelle hasn't seen him yet, Archduke of Valiant hasn't seen him yet, and I'm assuming they're gonna have, a fairly interesting reaction to finding out that Rimuru is besties for resties with the freaking Storm Dragon, with a freaking natural disaster that could wipe all their kingdoms off the face of the earth. Oh yeah, so they should stay on his good side. They should stay on his good side is what I'm saying. Oh, also, Diablo got introduced to the rest of the cast as Rimuru's second secretary, which feels like an unnecessary role, but then again, Shion is his first secretary, so yeah, he could definitely use some help. He could definitely use some backup there. Which, seriously, this demon, Diablo, is one of the strongest, just terrifyingly powerful, terrifyingly old existence. Veldora said in the recap episode last week that Diablo was probably as old as he was, and yet his job is now to serve Rimuru T, so yeah, I feel like there's a whole lot of ways Rimuru could be making better use of him, but we'll see what happens down the road. Let me know all down below. What do you think's happened at the Monster and Man Summit? How is everyone going to react to, Veldora freaking showing up? The fact that Rimuru was a freaking demon lord who went out and murdered 20,000 people. And, what else is going to happen? Oh yeah, we still have Malim. I haven't heard from Malim this episode. I mean, yeah, that's a question. I mean, she declared war against Carrion, and, the Beastketeers are very, very worried about him. So hopefully that gets answered a little bit next episode. I mean, the meeting this episode was definitely slimmed down a bit. A lot was cut out from it. I think it's simply because Rim was going to explain his plan next episode to Gazelle, the Archduke, and Fuse about what exactly his plan for, the Holy Empire, Falmus, Malim, Carrion, Clayman, all that stuff. They didn't want to, just repeat themselves 2 episodes in a row. So they're just going to save it for the next episode. They're going to explain everything then, what Rim was planning on doing, and how he's going to, conquer the entire world with the power of slime! But yeah, let me know else down below. Be sure to like, subscribe to the next video, and until then, peace!